Good morning from Full Moon Flock and Stock. There was something I kind of wanted to go over with, and that's kind of our breeding practices on the farm. So everything I say today doesn't have to do with like your small lard breed pigs, your coonies, your AGHs. We don't operate those or had those pigs run on our farm. We're not about that. We just don't like the way they grow and all that. So we have, for our pigs, we run some purebred Berkshires, a purebred large black, a couple of large black Berk crosses, which aren't related to any of the males on our farm. We have some spots, and then kind of some spot crosses as well. They're majority spot, but there is a little bit of other breed mixed into there. So just sit back, and we're kind of going to go over our breeding practices, which are pretty similar to a lot of people. Not everything's the same, but some of the things are very important, in my opinion, when it comes to breeding your pigs. So first of all, let's kind of look at some of the pigs. We'll look at starting from the ground up, we'll call it. So right now, the breeding practice starts at a young age when they're born. We don't keep everything for breeding. As you know, the majority of it is kept for meat production. And not every pig is meant to be a breeder. We take great pride in looking over our pigs. As you can see, we have a couple right here. They're going to be possible future breeders for us. We want to get them up to 6-7 months of age and around 300 pounds before we even think about breeding. We don't breed before 7 months. That's our typical practice. 7-8 months is when they start getting bred or started the process for breeding. But as you can see, we want to look at their age, their body condition, their teat line, to see how, if they have a good amount of teats there, that'd be possible for feeding their young. That's an important thing. So we like to have nice hams, nice shoulders, kind of a longer body, and then we want to make sure they're walking well. You want to make sure their feet are good, because that's an important thing. And then for the males, it's kind of similar for a lot of that. I can't find our little boar in here that we're growing out, but we kind of look for a lot of the similar characteristics for the shoulders, hams, and that has to be done at a lot younger age, because we don't want to have to castrate an older pig. So typically we try to do them around a week. But when it comes to, if we're going to choose a boar, like out of this younger group of purebred Berks, we had to keep a boar, or we decided to keep a boar out of there, and we waited 4 or 5 weeks before we castrated. It's a little more difficult. We don't like to do it, but we kind of had to do it because we wanted to make sure, especially since it's for us, that it's going to be a great breeder. So the pigs that we keep for breeding, they stay in with the regular grower group. We want them to a good body condition and weight. We like to see around 275 pound hog roughly before we consider the breeding process. So then once we decide that one's gonna be a breeder, they're kept in with the breeder groups. We will bring them into our farrowing crate. Not farrowing crate, I take that back. We don't use farrowing crates. We have a crate that we use for transporting the piglets and pigs around the farm. We can also load it in the back of the truck, and during the warmer months, if we have a small group to go, we can take them to the farm and offload them there. So once they determine that they're going to be breeders, and we get them to 7 months of age, what we do is we kind of transport them over to another group. And then, as of right now, a young breeder would go into this group here, And we have our spot boar, who's smaller of the two, and he would handle the breeding. So we want to have a smaller boar for the initial breeding as a gilt, because they're a smaller size, where some of these bigger girls are older and they can handle Fugly right there, who's probably all of 600 pounds. So then they're coming in here and we watch them for the breeding, and we use an app on our phone. It's a livestock gestation app. We can put in there for the pig, the date, and then we can keep track. So 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 days, the triple threes for breeding and getting ready for farrowing. So they'll stay in here. You know, we use 3 weeks before they come in with the boar, they get a farrowing vaccination, which helps with everything. We don't overly treat or medicate our animals unless we have to. So they're in here, and we're gonna say, hey, we are 2 weeks away roughly, or a week away from farrowing. So then we either bring them indoors to a roughly 8 by 10 farrowing stall. We don't use crates. We don't believe in them. Everybody can give me the reasons why they're so much better and they protect the piglets and everything, but we don't like the restrictions that they do. But if it's during the summer, some of the sows we actually will put in these outdoor farrowing pens, and we use these Smidley huts for the most part. We have 2 of them on the farm. They have a water barrel with a nipple, which they're used to, and then inside they can get protection. That roof opens up, and there is a creep area in there as well. So that's how we do it. We will keep an eye on them during farrowing because we are that type of people. Some people will leave the pigs and be like, oh, they're done. We kind of like to just keep an eye on them. You know, this is our living. This is kind of not, I'm not saying if you don't keep an eye on them, there's something wrong with you, but this is just how we like to do it. So they'll come in here, they farrow, and then they spend 6 weeks to 8 weeks in a farrowing group. We do vaccination, or the vaccines that they get, the iron shots, cut them and everything. And that's the one nice thing about the Smidley hut, is we can actually open up the top, climb in there, have all the piglets in there, the mama's outside, and she can't get at us because a angry sow is not a good sow. And then that just starts the process all over. So we like the live coverage of a boar because our full-time jobs don't allow us to be around here and really do the AI, which is a great option. If you can AI, you're saving yourself a lot of time and energy and money too, I'm guessing. You know, I've got the feed cost calculated. We're not that bad off on feed, so we're lucky that way. But I do like the live coverage of the boar, and some people who AI will keep a boar as well. We've been recently having our breeding cycle hit on the second time around, so we've tried to have the sows in a little bit better condition, upping their feed before they go back in with a boar. As you can see, our pigs like to eat, but we found the better they're in condition going back in with the boar, the better they're going to do with the farrowing cycle. But this is how we do it. We don't say we're the best. We don't say we're the worst, but what we are doing is working for us. We have more pigs on the ground this year than we have this time last year, and we have 5 sows that are going to be farrowing in the month of January in the Finger Lakes in New York, and that is not the easiest thing. I like 2 at the most, 3 pushing it, but things just did not hit the way they should have, and we running into the 5. We'll keep you guys, updated with that. But this is our breeding program, and if you guys have any other ideas or what you guys do, leave a message in the comments. But this is working for us. At our new property, things will be spread out a lot more. We will have a heated room for farrowing. 3 pigs at a time can be in there. Once they farrow, they'll spend a few days in there till the piglets are nice and up and hitting it good, and then we'll transition them to a separate pen in our barn that's going to be built this year. So our breeding will change a little bit with that heated room, but also our pigs are going to be spread out a lot more on our property, and keep them nice and going. So hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. I will see you guys later.